Hey guys, you are not tired because you are working too many hours, commuting too many miles, or because your daily schedule is simply too packed. You are completely exhausted because you are trying to play God. You are burning through your life's energy, trying to control things that were never yours to control in the first place. You wake up every day and desperately try to force the universe to bend to your will. And when it inevitably does not, you feel miserable. Think about it. How much of your day is spent stressing over the weather, the traffic on the interstate, the fluctuating economy, or what your co-workers secretly think of you over 2,000 years ago? A former slave turned philosopher named Epictetus laid down a fundamental truth that most of us realize way too late in life. He said that some things are in our control and others are not, and that in our power are our own thoughts, impulses, and desires, while things not in our power include our bodies, our property, our reputations, and our jobs. When you try to control those external things, you are setting yourself up for endless anxiety, lamentation, and frustration. Imagine driving your car to a crucial job interview. You prepared perfectly, but suddenly there is a massive 10-car pileup ahead of you. You grip the steering wheel, your heart pounds, and you start yelling at the cars, feeling your blood pressure spike. Why? Because you unconsciously believe that getting angry will somehow magically clear the road. But as the ancient Stoics pointed out, a hurricane or a traffic jam will not take the slightest notice of your anger. Your distress is entirely self-inflicted. You are adding a mental injury to a situation imposed from the outside. This is the biggest lie we are sold about freedom in our modern society. We think freedom is having the ability to make everything go our way, to maneuver the world into our exact specifications, and to possess whatever we desire. But true freedom is exactly the opposite. True freedom comes from understanding the limits of our own power and accepting the natural limits set in place by the universe. When we demand that the world conform to our wishes, we voluntarily become slaves to our circumstances. You become a slave to your boss's mood, a slave to the stock market, and a slave to the opinions of strangers on the internet. We are constantly anxious because we want things that are simply not up to us. We falsely believe that if we just worry enough or plan enough, we can dictate the ultimate outcome. But that outcome is always beyond our direct control. We forget that our only true possession, our only impregnable fortress, is our own mind and our ability to choose how we respond to adversity. You need to wake up to this reality today and stop trying to carry the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. The ancient Stoics had a practical mental exercise for this, often calling it the dichotomy of control, which is the very foundation of their philosophy. Whenever you face a challenging situation, you must immediately ask yourself if it is within your complete control or not. And if it involves anything outside your power, you must be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. This does not mean you stop caring or become a passive participant in life. It means you practice a reserve clause, doing your absolute best while accepting that the final result is up to fate. You can prefer to be wealthy or healthy, as the Stoics called these preferred indifferents. But you must never attach your core self-worth to them. It is about taking all that wasted energy you spend fighting reality and redirecting it into the only place where you are truly invincible, which is your own character and your daily choices. If you can master this single principle, you will instantly feel a massive weight lift off your chest, and you will finally stop being a victim of chance. To truly grasp how profound this shift in mindset really is, you have to look at the lives of two men who lived at the absolute opposite extremes of human existence. Imagine being born into the lowest possible position in society. You do not own your house. You do not own your clothes. You do not even own your own body. This was the reality for Epictetus, a man born into slavery in the Roman Empire nearly 2,000 years ago. He served under a cruel and powerful master. His daily life was dictated entirely by the whims of others. He suffered physical abuse, leaving him with a crippled leg for the rest of his life. By modern standards, he had every right to be consumed by bitterness, hatred, and despair. If anyone had an excuse to play the victim, it was him. But Epictetus made a radical realization that would alter the course of philosophy forever. He realized that while his master owned his physical body, no one could ever own his mind, his beliefs, or his choices. He famously declared that lameness is an impediment to the leg, but not to the will. He understood that his physical confinement was an external circumstance entirely outside of his control, but his reaction to it was his absolute domain. He found absolute freedom inside his captivity, because he stopped wishing for a different reality and mastered his own internal reactions. He became more liberated than the wealthy, powerful men who legally owned him. Now, fast forward a few generations and look at the absolute peak of the human social hierarchy. Enter Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome. Here was a man who possessed ultimate, unchecked power. He commanded the greatest army on the planet. He had access to infinite wealth. He could have anything he desired with a single word. Society tells us that this level of control and power is the ultimate goal, the pinnacle of freedom. Yet, Marcus Aurelius was not free from adversity. His reign was plagued by decades of brutal frontier wars, devastating diseases that wiped out millions of his citizens, deep betrayals by his most trusted generals, and the unimaginable personal tragedy of losing several of his own children. Despite having absolute power over the known world, he could not control the weather, the spread of the plague, or the mortality of his own family. He realized that his imperial purple robes could not protect him from the chaotic nature of the universe. So, where did the most powerful man on earth turn for guidance? He turned to the teachings of the former slave, Epictetus. Marcus Aurelius studied the words of Epictetus and realized that true power had absolutely nothing to do with commanding armies or holding a prestigious title. He realized that the emperor and the slave were actually in the exact same predicament. They were both human beings facing a chaotic, unpredictable world. The only difference was the specific flavor of their external challenges. Marcus Aurelius learned that the only empire truly worth ruling was the empire of his own mind. These two men, separated by immense social divides, discovered the exact same universal truth. True freedom does not come from manipulating your external environment to fit your desires. It comes from mastering your internal environment so that you can remain perfectly steady no matter what the external world throws at you. You might not be a Roman slave, and you are probably not a Roman emperor, but you are playing the exact same game. You are fighting daily battles, dealing with difficult people, facing financial pressures, and navigating health issues. You are constantly tempted to believe that if you just get a promotion, or make more money, or force someone to respect you, you will finally feel secure. But the slave and the emperor are speaking to you right now through history, warning you that you are looking for security in all the wrong places. If you want to stop feeling helpless, you must stop handing your power over to things you cannot control. You are probably walking around right now believing that you own a great deal of things. You think you own your house, your savings account, your professional reputation, and even your own physical body. But the harsh reality is that you are merely renting them, and the unpredictable universe can terminate your lease at any given second without any prior notice. This brings us to the most brutal, yet ultimately liberating, slap of reality you will ever experience. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus laid it out perfectly when he stated that things not in our power include the body, property, reputation, office, and, in one word, everything which is not our own doing. To truly understand the magnitude of this truth, imagine you have been working at a prestigious corporate firm in Chicago for 10 years. You have routinely put in 80 hours a week, skipped family vacations, and sacrificed your physical health because you were practically guaranteed the new vice president position. You feel absolutely certain that you control this outcome because you have put in the maximum amount of effort and dedication. But on a random Friday afternoon, the chief executive officer calls you into his office and casually tells you that the company is giving the promotion to his nephew, who just graduated from college. In an instant, your world shatters. You are devastated, furiously angry, and you feel profoundly betrayed by the universe. Why does this specific rejection hurt so much? It is not just about the money or the prestigious title. It hurts because you fell into the ultimate psychological trap. You confused your influence with actual control. You falsely believed that your hard work guaranteed a specific external result. You attached your core self-worth to a decision made by someone else. When we attach our happiness to things we do not entirely control, like our professional reputations, our bank account balances, or the opinions of other people, we are essentially handing the remote control of our emotional state over to a complete stranger, or to blind luck. It is a guaranteed recipe for chronic misery. You feel like a helpless victim because you staked your joy on a fragile, external outcome that was never yours to dictate in the first place. The Stoic fork, often called the dichotomy of control, forces us to accept this difficult truth in order to finally set us free. Your physical body can suddenly become ill despite you eating perfectly healthy foods and running 5 miles every single day. Your carefully managed retirement portfolio can crash overnight due to a global economic crisis you had absolutely nothing to do with. Strangers can spread vicious, untrue rumors about you on the internet, instantly destroying the reputation you spent decades building. You must aggressively internalize the realization that these external things are not truly yours. The Stoics called them preferred indifference. You can prefer to have them, but you must never let them define you. So, what is actually yours? Your judgments, your impulses, your character, your response to that chief executive officer. In that exact moment of professional rejection, you do not control the promotion, but you maintain absolute control over how you react to the news. You can choose to scream and throw a tantrum, proving you are a slave to your emotions, or you can choose to walk out of that office with your dignity intact. Immediately update your resume and pivot to a new opportunity without letting bitterness poison your mind. You can calmly say to yourself that this is an impediment to your career, but it is not an impediment to your will or your virtue. By actively letting go of the persistent illusion of control over the external world, you immediately stop fighting unwinnable battles. You stop wasting your precious mental energy on things you cannot change, and you instantly reclaim your absolute, unbreakable power over your internal world. You probably believe that your greatest enemies in life are external forces like a terrible boss, a sudden economic downturn, or a backstabbing friend. But your ultimate enemy is completely invisible, and it lives entirely inside your own head. Your greatest enemy is your own impulsive emotions, specifically your unchecked anger and your irrational fear. The ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca correctly diagnosed this psychological trap over 2,000 years ago when he described anger as a temporary madness, warning us that if we do not actively conquer our anger will inevitably conquer us. Think back to that agonizing moment in the Chicago corporate office when the chief executive officer casually handed your hard-earned promotion to his inexperienced nephew. In that exact fraction of a second, your face flushed, your heart rate spiked, and a massive, blinding wave of fury washed over your entire body. You likely felt an overwhelming, almost magnetic urge to scream at him, to sweep everything off his mahogany desk, or to immediately storm out and send a blistering company-wide email exposing the blatant nepotism. In modern scientific terms, this is known as the biological fight or flight response. But the ancient Stoics had a much more profound understanding of what was actually happening to your personal freedom in that specific moment. They understood that whenever you allow yourself to be completely consumed by blind rage, deep resentment, or paralyzing fear, you are willingly surrendering your ultimate sovereignty. You are voluntarily taking the remote control of your emotional state and handing it directly over to the very person or the very situation that just wronged you. If your boss has the ability to make you lose your temper, your boss effectively owns you. If a careless stranger cutting you off in heavy traffic on the interstate can ruin your entire morning, that anonymous stranger has become your absolute master. The Stoics categorize these intense, uncontrollable negative emotions as passions, and they argued forcefully that these destructive passions are never caused by the external events themselves, but entirely by your own internal judgments about those external events. You feel furious because you have consciously or unconsciously made the value judgment that losing the promotion is a catastrophic, world-ending evil, and that throwing a vicious tantrum is the appropriate, justified response to that perceived evil. But is it really an evil? Getting intensely angry will not turn back time. It will not magically change the chief executive officer's mind. And it certainly will not secure your long-term financial future. In fact, reacting with explosive, uncontrolled anger will only damage your professional reputation and cloud your rational thinking, causing you to make foolish, irreversible mistakes. When you react this way, you become a victim twice over. First, victimized by the external circumstance, and second, victimized by your own destructive reaction to it. True freedom requires you to permanently break this toxic, exhausting cycle. You have to understand that your initial physical reactions, like your heart pounding or your face getting hot, are natural biological reflexes that you absolutely cannot prevent. Seneca himself acknowledged that even the bravest, most disciplined man might still grow pale and shudder in the face of sudden danger. But what happens in the very next second is entirely up to you. You must learn to forcefully insert a wedge between the external stimulus and your internal response. The philosopher Epictetus taught his students to mentally address their distressing thoughts by firmly saying, "You are just an impression and not at all the thing you claim to be." The next time you feel the heat of anger rising in your chest because a coworker insulted you, or because you are stuck in a massive 3-hour flight delay at the airport, you must immediately practice the discipline of postponement. Do not react immediately. Take a deep breath from your diaphragm. Excuse yourself and walk away for a moment if you have to. Force yourself to pause and rationally examine the situation. Ask yourself if the provoking event is within your direct control. And when you logically recognize that it is not, remind yourself that getting angry will only add a self-inflicted psychological injury to an already difficult situation. By steadfastly refusing to let your impulsive emotions dictate your behavior, you completely strip the external world of its power to hurt you, and you build an impenetrable, lifelong fortress around your peace of mind. But here is the question that almost everyone asks at this exact point in the journey, and it might be the very thing holding you back from true peace. If you completely let go of trying to control the final outcome of your life, does that mean you just sit on the couch, abandon your ambitions, and passively accept whatever happens? Absolutely not. The ancient Stoics were not passive observers. They were emperors, generals, and highly successful entrepreneurs. They simply understood a profound psychological shift called internalizing your goals. The Roman philosopher Cicero provided one of the most brilliant metaphors in all of Stoicism to explain this exact concept, describing the mindset of an expert archer. Imagine a world-class archer stepping up to the shooting line. She has spent 10,000 hours relentlessly practicing her technique. She carefully selects the perfect bow, checks the tension of the string, adjusts her physical stance down to the millimeter, and calculates the exact distance to the target. She takes a deep, steady breath, focuses her eyes, and finally releases the arrow. But what happens the very millisecond that arrow leaves her fingertips? She instantly loses all control over it. A sudden 40-mile-per-hour gust of wind could violently sweep across the open field. A bird could fly directly into the arrow's path. The wooden target itself could suddenly collapse to the ground. If her only definition of success is hitting the absolute center of the bullseye, she is setting herself up for devastating anxiety and inevitable heartbreak, because she has staked her entire emotional well-being on random variables that she cannot possibly dictate. This is the exact same psychological trap you fall into every single day. You set an external goal to make $1 million, or to force a specific person to fall in love with you, or to guarantee that you finally secure that prestigious vice president position at your firm in Chicago. You are desperately measuring your personal worth by the final location of the arrow. The Stoics recognized that this external attachment is a guaranteed recipe for misery. Their solution was not to lower your ambitions, but to completely relocate the finish line. The Stoic archer's true goal is never to hit the target. Her true goal is to shoot the absolute best shot she is humanly capable of shooting. She focuses entirely on the process, on the draw, the aim, and the release. If a freak gust of wind blows her perfect arrow off course, she does not feel like a pathetic failure, because she successfully executed everything that was within her power. You must apply this exact same paradigm shift to your own professional and personal life right now if you want to stop feeling exhausted. Instead of making it your ultimate goal to get the promotion, make it your internalized goal to work with absolute integrity, to master your specific industry skill set, and to be the most incredibly valuable employee on your corporate team. If the chief executive officer still decides to give the executive job to his unqualified nephew, you have not failed at all. You successfully achieved your internalized goal of working with personal excellence. You remain completely untouched and unbothered by the unpredictable, chaotic wind of corporate office politics. This is the ultimate secret to never feeling like a loser again. By aggressively detaching your core self-worth from the uncontrollable final result and attaching it entirely to your controllable daily effort, you become completely bulletproof. You can still pursue massive greatness and wealth with maximum intensity, but you remain perfectly at peace with whatever external outcome the unpredictable universe ultimately decides to deliver to your doorstep. Merely accepting that you did your absolute best and still lost that executive promotion is a fantastic first step. But it is not the final destination of this ancient philosophy. If you stop at mere acceptance, you are still just tolerating your life instead of actively commanding it. You are merely resigning yourself to defeat, which can often lead to a quiet, lingering bitterness. The ancient Stoics took this radical mindset one massive, transformative step further, demanding not just passive resignation to your circumstances, but a fierce, enthusiastic embrace of them. Many centuries later, the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche would coin a perfect two-word phrase to capture this exact Stoic attitude, calling it amor fati, which translates directly to a love of your fate. To illustrate this profound psychological shift, the Stoic teacher Chrysippus used a brilliant metaphor that perfectly captures the human condition. He asked his students to imagine a dog leashed to the back of a heavy, fast-moving wagon. The moving wagon represents the unstoppable, predetermined direction of the universe, or fate. The leash is long enough to give the dog two distinct choices. The dog can either cheerfully trot alongside the wagon enjoying the beautiful scenery, exploring the path, and having a perfectly pleasant, healthy journey. Or the dog can stubbornly dig its paws into the dirt, furiously resist the tension of the leash, and fight against the overwhelming momentum of the heavy wagon. What happens in the second scenario? The wagon keeps moving forward anyway, and the dog is violently dragged along the rough gravel, kicking, choking, and suffering the entire way. You are that dog, and the wagon is your life. When the chief executive officer in that high-rise Chicago office unexpectedly gives the vice president job to his nephew, or when your car suddenly gets a flat tire in the freezing rain on Interstate 90, the wagon of fate has taken a sharp, unavoidable turn. You can choose to violently resist this new, uncomfortable reality, complaining endlessly to your coworkers, screaming at your steering wheel, and letting the universe drag you through the mud of your own misery. Or you can consciously choose to run alongside the wagon. Amor fati means looking directly at the flat tire, or the lost promotion, or the canceled flight, and saying out loud to yourself, "This is exactly what I needed to happen today." It sounds completely delusional and counterintuitive to our modern society, but it is the ultimate psychological superpower. When you actively practice a love of fate, you permanently stop wishing for a comfortable reality that simply does not exist. You stop wasting your breath saying things like, "I wish it was not raining," or "I wish my boss was a much fairer person." Constantly wishing for reality to be different is the very definition of self-inflicted torture. Instead, you look at the massive obstacle in front of you and you welcome it as a necessary, customized training exercise. You realize that the universe is not punishing you at all. It is actually providing you with the exact curriculum you need to develop maximum mental toughness and superior character. If you get fired from your corporate job, Amor fati dictates that you love the unexpected opportunity to completely reinvent your career trajectory, or finally launch that small business you have been dreaming about for the last decade. If you are stuck in a horrendous 3-hour traffic jam, you love the sudden, uninterrupted quiet time you have been given to listen to an educational audiobook or simply practice your breathing exercises. You do not just silently tolerate the bitter medicine of life. You actively and cheerfully ask for another spoonful. By aggressively loving whatever unpredictable event the universe places in front of you, you completely eliminate the entire concept of bad luck from your personal vocabulary. Everything that happens to you, no matter how objectively terrible it might seem to a normal person, instantly becomes valuable fuel for your own personal growth. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius described this mindset by comparing a wise person to a massive, roaring bonfire. A tiny candle will easily be blown out by a sudden gust of wind, but a blazing bonfire consumes every single piece of garbage, wood, or debris you throw into it, using that obstacle to burn even brighter and hotter. When you fully internalize amor fati, you transform from a fragile, complaining victim of circumstance into an absolutely unstoppable force of nature, because there is nothing in the world that can happen to you that you will not immediately use to your own maximum advantage. This brings us to a crucial realization about your daily interactions with the external world. You might understand how to love a flat tire on your car or a suddenly canceled flight. But what happens when the challenge is not a random weather event, but a direct, malicious attack from another human being? What happens when a coworker intentionally embarrasses you in front of the entire executive board? Or a stranger hurls a vicious insult at you on the street? Your natural biological reflex is to take it personally, to feel deeply offended, and to strike back with equal venom. But the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius possessed a psychological tool that completely neutralized this kind of interpersonal warfare. He wrote in his private journal that while other people can easily impede our physical actions, they can never impede our intentions or our dispositions, because the human mind has the unique ability to adapt and convert any obstacle into the very fuel it needs to achieve its ultimate purpose. He concluded this thought with one of the most powerful statements in all of human philosophy, declaring that the impediment to action advances action, and what stands in the way becomes the way. To understand how to actively apply this in your modern life, you have to stop viewing life as a graceful, choreographed dance and start viewing it as a brutal wrestling match. The ancient Stoics absolutely loved the metaphor of the wrestler. When a professional wrestler steps into the ring, he does not complain that his opponent is aggressively trying to throw him to the mat. The opponent's heavy resistance is the entire point of the sport. Without a remarkably strong opponent, the wrestler cannot possibly improve his defensive skills or prove his championship strength. You must begin to view the difficult, toxic, and deeply frustrating people in your own life through this exact same lens. They are not your enemies. They are your unpaid sparring partners. Imagine you are giving a major financial presentation at your corporate office in Chicago, and a rival colleague rudely interrupts you to point out a minor flaw in your data, deliberately trying to make you look utterly incompetent. An untrained person would become instantly flustered, highly defensive, and furiously angry. But as a practicing Stoic, you immediately turn the obstacle upside down. You look directly at this rude colleague, and you silently thank them for the free training session in patience and emotional self-control. You realize that you cannot possibly practice the profound virtue of forgiveness unless someone actually wrongs you first. You cannot practice the virtue of patience unless someone actively delays you or frustrates you. Therefore, this obnoxious coworker is actually providing you with the exact raw material you desperately need to build a superior, unbreakable character. Some modern practitioners of this ancient philosophy have even described themselves as becoming insult connoisseurs. When someone insults them, instead of getting hurt, they objectively analyze the insult like a scientist. They ask themselves if the insult is true. If it is factually true, there is absolutely no logical reason to be angry about a factual statement. If the insult is completely false, then the person delivering it is simply mistaken and looking foolish, which only harms their own character, not yours. By adopting this wrestler mindset, you completely flip the power dynamic of your entire life. You permanently stop hoping for a soft, easy existence, surrounded only by polite, agreeable people. Because you know that a soft existence only creates a weak, fragile mind. Instead, you walk out of your front door every single morning actively ready to grapple with whatever difficult situations the universe throws at you. Every massive traffic jam, every rude cashier, every unfair corporate policy, and every unexpected financial setback ceases to be a source of daily misery. They instantly become your personalized gymnasium, customized by the universe to help you forge an absolutely invincible will. You stop avoiding the heavy weights of life, and you start actively using them to build a psychological fortress that nobody can ever tear down. You might have successfully learned how to mentally reframe a flat tire in the freezing rain, or gracefully handle a toxic coworker in your Chicago office. But a terrifying question still remains. What happens when the universe decides to escalate the situation and take away absolutely everything you hold dear? You walk around every single day feeling completely vulnerable to the chaotic whims of the world. But the truth is that you actually possess an impenetrable, invisible fortress right inside your own head. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal that the mind freed from destructive passions is an impenetrable fortress, and a person has no more secure place of refuge for all time. He constantly reminded himself that external things cannot touch the soul in any way whatsoever, and that all of our distress comes entirely from our own internal judgments. To truly visualize the sheer power of this concept, imagine that your prestigious corporate firm in Chicago suddenly goes completely bankrupt overnight due to a massive global economic crash. In the future, you will lose your senior management salary. Your carefully managed retirement portfolio evaporates into thin air, and you are eventually forced to move out of your beautiful suburban home and into a tiny, cramped apartment. Everything external that you spent decades building has been violently stripped away from you. Modern society tells you that you should be entirely broken, deeply depressed, and utterly devastated by this catastrophic loss. Why do most people completely break down in these moments of severe crisis? They break down because they have carelessly left the gates of their inner fortress wide open. They allowed external circumstances to march right into their minds and completely dictate their core self-worth. They falsely believed that their happiness was permanently attached to that mahogany desk, that specific bank account balance, and the exact square footage of their house. The ancient Stoics understood that the external world is essentially a massive siege engine constantly battering against your life. If you tie your identity and your emotional stability to the fragile things located outside the walls of your mind, you will constantly live in a state of sheer terror, waiting for the next inevitable attack. However, if you actively choose to retreat to your inner citadel, you realize a profound, life-altering truth. The external world cannot force you to feel miserable. Misery always requires your active, voluntary consent. The walls of this psychological fortress are built entirely out of your own rational judgments and your disciplined responses. So, how do you actually retreat into this citadel when your modern life is falling apart whenever you experience a massive financial loss, a painful breakup, or a catastrophic professional failure? You must immediately practice cognitive distancing. When the heavy wave of anxiety hits your chest, you do not suppress the physical feeling, but you actively refuse to grant that panic access to your core identity. You look directly at the lost job or the empty bank account, and you firmly tell yourself that this is merely an external event. It is not a reflection of your true character, and it has absolutely no power to make you a lesser human being. You repeatedly remind yourself that while the unpredictable universe can easily confiscate your money, your physical comforts, and your social status without any warning, it can never confiscate your integrity, your patience, or your ability to choose a virtuous response. By consciously and deliberately retreating into this philosophical stronghold, you permanently stop panicking about what the chaotic world might take from you tomorrow. You finally realize that even if you lose absolutely every single material possession you have to your name, you will still retain the only thing that truly guarantees a happy life, which is your own unconquerable mind. You have reached the final and most important realization of this entire philosophical journey, and it requires you to make a brutal but necessary confession to yourself right now. You must permanently surrender the comforting, familiar blanket of personal victimhood. For your entire life, modern society has handed you an endless list of perfectly acceptable excuses to explain exactly why you are unhappy, stressed, or unfulfilled. You have been explicitly told that you are a helpless victim of a fluctuating economy, a victim of your demanding boss in that high-rise Chicago office, a victim of the terrible morning traffic on the interstate, or a victim of your own unfortunate circumstances. But the ancient Stoic philosophers aggressively reject this modern narrative of helplessness. Epictetus, the man who actually spent his early life in physical chains under a cruel master, firmly declared that it is not external things that upset us, but our own internal judgments about those things. If a man who was legally owned by another human being completely refused to call himself a victim, then you have absolutely no logical right to claim that title just because your commercial flight was canceled or because your financial portfolio lost value. The ultimate truth that changes absolutely everything in your existence is that you are the sole, undisputed author of your own emotional reality. Whenever you blame another person or a random external event for your explosive anger, your deep sadness, or your crippling anxiety, you are literally handing over the keys to your mind and begging the chaotic universe to dictate how you feel. You are voluntarily enslaving yourself to the outside world. But the exact moment you fully internalize the dichotomy of control, everything in your life shifts. You suddenly realize that the chief executive officer who unexpectedly denied you the executive promotion did not actually harm you. He merely made a corporate business decision. And it was your own internal expectation and your own wounded pride that manufactured your psychological pain. The obnoxious stranger who hurled an insult at you on the street did not inflict any actual injury upon your core character. Your own fragile ego consciously chose to accept the insult and turn it into genuine suffering. You must immediately stop waiting for the world to become fair, easy, and accommodating, because the world will never be any of those things. The universe will always continue to be entirely unpredictable, constantly throwing massive financial crashes, severe health challenges, and deeply toxic people directly into your daily path. The proper Stoic response is not to hide from this inevitable chaos, or to passively resign yourself to miserable defeat. The Stoic response is to stand firmly in the absolute center of the raging storm, perfectly grounded in the unwavering certainty that while you cannot control a single drop of the freezing rain, you maintain absolute, unbreakable authority over whether or not you let the storm wash away your internal peace of mind. True freedom is not the magical ability to maneuver the external world to fit your exact specifications. True freedom is the profound, quiet realization that the world does not need to bend to your will in order for you to be perfectly happy and completely secure. Your rational mind is an invincible, impenetrable fortress. Your moral character is your only true permanent possession in this fleeting life. Your fundamental power to choose a virtuous, disciplined response in the face of maximum adversity is the single greatest weapon you have ever been given by nature. It is time to stop wishing for a much lighter burden and start focusing entirely on building broader, much stronger shoulders. The very next time you face a massive personal or professional setback, do not look up at the sky and ask the universe why this terrible tragedy is happening to you. Instead, look directly at the heavy obstacle, gracefully retreat into the impregnable citadel of your own mind, and boldly declare that this external event has absolutely no power over your soul. You must reclaim your ultimate sovereignty today. Stop exhausting yourself by trying to play God with the transient things that are not yours, and start acting like the absolute, unquestioned master of the one thing that truly is yours, which is your own unconquerable will. If you found value in this ancient wisdom and are ready to stop playing the victim to start building your own impregnable fortress of the mind, then it is time to take action. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to join our community of modern Stoics who are actively taking back control of their lives every single day. Leave a comment below with the exact external expectation you are choosing to completely let go of today. Share this video with someone who desperately needs to hear this brutal truth. And until next time, remember that the obstacle is always the way. Keep building your superior character and stay perfectly unconquerable. See you next video.